Hello YouTube, my name is Nye. Join me again in the Finale Guitar Shop in Sheffield. Thank you all for tuning in. We're on Folky Fridays number 46 today. In today's Folky Fridays stream I'm going to be talking about strumming patterns for reels, of which there are many. There's a kind of underlying principle for all of the good strumming patterns for reels, so I'm going to run you through that quickly first. I'm going to talk a little bit about swung versus straight as well, which is a thing that people sometimes have problems with. And then I'm going to kind of show you a few different approaches to reel strumming, because you see a lot of people just doing the kind of standard thing, which is something like that kind of thing, bum chack bumper chacker. And bump chack bumper chacker is very, very nice, but there's absolutely millions of other variations you can do to make that more interesting, particularly if you're, you know, the only guitarist in the session, or you haven't got any other rhythm players. The world is your oyster. So I just thought I'd have a look at some of those today. If you are watching, drop us a little comment and say hello. It's always nice to know who's out there in the ether, like. Cool. What I'm going to do, I think, to start off with then, is just talk a little bit very quickly about the kind of principle that underpins all reels. And that principle is that if you imagine a bar of 4/4, because reels are 4/4, obviously, 4/4 means that there are 4 crotchets or 4 quarter beats in every bar. And if you divide each of those quarter beats in half, you've got 8 eighth beats in your bar. And what you're going to want to do for every good reel pattern is move down on the first 8th beat and up on the second one, and carry on like that. So you're going down always on the odd numbered 8th beats, the odd numbered quavers, and up on the even numbered quavers. So if your beat's going 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and something like that, and that is always, that motion is always going to carry on. The way that you get the interesting patterns is by A, choosing whether you're going to hit bass notes or the other strings, and B, choosing which ones you're going to miss out. And then as well as that, occasionally obviously you've got things like muting and those kinds of things as well. So if we take the bump chack bumper chacker as like a real simple example, in that you're doing a down, then you're missing the up, then you're doing another down, missing the up again, and then you're doing down, up, down, up. So down, 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 up, down, up. So basically what I've got there is I'm missing quavers number 2 and 4, and I'm hitting the others. And then on quaver number 1, I'm just doing a bass note. And the same on quaver number 5. So that's your kind of basic principle for all reel strumming patterns, and you can see there it applies to the most common reel strumming pattern, which is the bump chack bumper chacker. Sorry, I've just realised my big pile of expensive Fox amplifiers has fallen over, so just bear with me a minute. I'm just going to prop that back up before any very expensive avalanches happen. There we go. Cool, where were we? Who have we got? Oh, hey Frank, thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Eyes Locus and Stephen. Yeah, I'm audible again, which is always good. Hey up Ed, cheers for tuning in. Yeah, going on from that basic principle then, you've got like swung rhythms and straight rhythms, and it tends to be with Irish music that reels are very straight, and hornpipes, which are slower, are more swung. What I mean by that is that in a straight rhythm, all your quavers or all your 8th beats are equally spaced. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If your rhythm is swung, on the other hand, all the even numbered ones are pushed late. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can see there 2, 4, 6, etc. They're all a bit late, and that gives you this kind of lump, bob, bom, bob, bom, bob, bom kind of feel, a bit like a heart pumping, or a horse walking, or an oblong rolling down a hill, you know, something like that. So yeah, that's what I mean by swung versus straight. And it's interesting that certain players, whether they're aware of it or not, have styles where they will play certain tunes more swung and certain tunes more straight. There's also regional variations, particularly in Irish music, where regional styles are quite fixed. You'll find some regions play more swung than others, and some regions play more straight. So yeah, how much swing the melody players are playing with is something you really want to reflect in your backing, and you'll probably find you do it subconsciously, but it's nice to practice consciously strumming the bumper chack patterns straight, and then practice doing it swung as well. So in that second one, my quavers are ba 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 ba, like that, and you'll find then, as you listen out for that, you know that there's different players that will play closer to the swung version than others. The next little strumming thing that I wanted to show you is a pattern which I've made videos about, but not for a very long time, so I thought I'd just go back over it quickly. I call it the Faith pattern, and it's one of the ones that's mentioned early on in my first book, Backing Guitar Techniques for Traditional Celtic Music, which you can have a look at if you haven't already got it. It's on folkfriend.co.uk/shop. The pattern sounds something like this. What I'll do, I'll play it along with Cooley's reel. I'll use my play along from the Folk Friend website, which you can find here. There you go. I'm going to play along with that, and I'm going to play what I call the Faith pattern. I call it the Faith pattern because it sounds a bit like the intro to Gotta Have Faith, you know. Dunk, 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 dunk. So yeah, here's what it sounds like with Cooley's reel. Just turn it up a bit. So he's got that very, very swung thing going on, and it works nicely with my recording of Cooley's reel because that's my mum on the whistle, and she plays everything quite swung. That's just kind of how she plays. So that's probably why I ended up playing like that most of the time instead of doing the bump jack pattern, I suppose. But yeah, so with that one, I mean, your starting point is pretty much something like that. So you're doing fairly swung quavers, and you're hitting all of them, and if you just mute the left hand, what I'm doing there to get the rhythm is accentuating bump, 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 like that. Down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. I could draw you some little arrows as well while we're here, which might be helpful. No, I don't think I will actually today. I think we'll be arrowless for a change. So yeah, that's your kind of starting point. once you get used to that, you can start using that in conjunction with chord shapes where you're fretting as many strings as possible. If I just do it on an ordinary E minor chord for comparison, I mean that sounds okay, but when you use, if I use this E power chord up here instead, or like an E minor bar chord for example, let's do it with the bar chord actually, because that one I'm fretting most of the strings, so as I do my dominant beats I can just gently pull that left hand off the strings. So now I'm only getting the ones that I want to accentuate, and the rest of them I'm just getting muted strings. And I'm letting the bottom E string carry on under it, so I've got a nice low E drone. So that's a strumming pattern that I really like and use a lot. Out of curiosity, of people that watch this stream, and I know quite a few of you have my book as well, and it's in there, who uses that or something similar to it, and who generally uses the more trad kind of straightforward reel patterns. We'll find out in a minute when the lag catches up. Once you've got that pattern, then you can start throwing in palm mutes, and you get some really interesting things just by taking that basic pattern and putting your palm mutes in different places. So the first place that I find myself doing it naturally is like that. Basically every time I've just done an up, I hit back with a mute afterwards. So if I do that really, really slowly, it's like that. That one I will write out with arrows. Maybe you can, screenshot it or watch it back afterwards, because it's it is quite complicated, that one. We need a bit of pepper. Where is the pepper? Here we have the pepper. So, bum, bum, we need a bigger bit of paper. Never too much a predetermined pattern. I tend to play the feel and sometimes can set the style. Never too much a predetermined pattern. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Do. Bum ba 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 mute da dum da dum bum ba 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 bum. I have to actually play this. Dun, 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 dun. That one. Right, there we go. That's that is what I'm actually doing. You can see that. So that's a pattern that's 2 bars long, because you've got your 16/8 beats. The accentuated ones are the bigger arrows, and those are the ones that I really push my bar chord down hard on. For the littler arrows, I'm kind of just muting the strings, and the M's are where, after doing an upstroke, I hit straight down with a palm mute. And with the palm mute there, if you've got your plectrum in your hand like that, when you do the mute, you kind of keep your fingers straight, so that your fingers kind of whack across the strings and make a nice noise like that. And then your plectrum's down there below the strings, ready to come back up again. Not sure if this is at an angle where you can actually see that. Oh yeah. That kind of thing. So if I hold this, you know, it's a very technologically advanced streaming studio that I have here. All mod cons. Might blue tack it to the top of my guitar actually. So. Something like that, and that is, yeah, really nice to play with. By taking those mutes and moving them to different places, you can get all sorts of different things. I'll just show you a few of the things. Oh, actually, before I get onto the things, I'll show you just one thing you can do with the bumper chacker pattern. If I was going along on my E power chord with bumper chacker, that's a nice easy one to start introducing mutes into. So by changing how much you mute, and whether you're muting all the strings or just the higher strings and leaving the bass notes ringing under it, you can get some really nice, easy, kind of dynamic variation within that pattern. But the one that I really like is if there's no drummers or boron players or whatever, or cajons, then if you put the mute on all the offbeats and really whack your mute with the flat of your hand like that, that's going to create a really nice kind of snare drum effect, with minimal coordination required. The other thing you can think about with the bum chacker pattern is if you're muting the higher strings and just leaving the bass in, if you strum entirely from the wrist and keep the mute on, you get this really nice effect where the upstrokes are naturally accentuated, because as you do an upstroke, if it's just from the wrist, it makes your arm do a little jump for a second, and that gets rid of your mute. And one thing I like to do there as well is just strum the lower 4 strings when you're doing something like this with a power chord. And on the last upstroke of the bar, so you've got like down, 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 up, on that very last up, hit the higher strings. Sorry, I'll try and do it slow. That kind of thing, and that's a really nice little rhythmic thing that cuts through well if you've got a lot of other instruments with you. Anyway, so that's that. But going back to the faith pattern, if you imagine that your palm mutes are the snare drum, and you've got a kit drummer playing along with you, where those snares are would change the rhythmic feel of it, and it's the kind of trad sounding thing to do is to put the snares on beats 2 and 4 of each bar. So or whatever kind of drum and bass version of it. But if you move those snares around, I really like dubstep, where there's no snares on beats 2 and 4, there's a snare on beat 3 in every bar instead, which is where this half-time feel comes from, because it's like you're playing a drum beat that's at half the speed of the tune in a way. So if you go along with a faith pattern, you can put your snare there, or you could put it, that's not, hang on, let me just have a think about what the halftime thing actually is, where it would be. Well, that's on beat 3 of every bar. That's putting one on beat 3 of every bar. That's not quite... The thing that made me think of this was when I did the stream last week with my mum, I kind of found myself doing a sort of halftime thing on part of it, and I can't actually quite think how to recreate it now. I'm gonna have another little play along with the tune and just see if it springs to mind. Hang on a minute. So I'm doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 that kind of thing. So that's kind of making like a kind of half-time rhythm with the guitar, which makes the whole tune feel relaxed, even though the tune's really fast. If you do want to practice along with this recording of the tune, by the way, it's on the Folk Friend website. Go on folkfriend.co.uk, hit the tab at the top that's called Play-Alongs, and there is a pack of 20 of those there which you can buy access to. There are also quite a lot of free ones if you go on the folkfriend.co.uk videos page, which you'll find there as well. Go on free play-alongs on there. I think there's 6 on there now for free that you can have a go at. If you do buy the paid-for ones, though, you get a complete guide to why all the chords work, including loads of jazzy options, chord diagrams, a little bit of the history of the tune, music theory, all that kind of stuff. So have a look at that if you want loads of good resources to practice your guitar with. So yeah, that's the halftime thing for reals. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about that one really. Just quickly, there is a way that you can kind of apply it to jigs as well. If you like putting a mute on the offbeats of a jig, which I do, then you can do what I call the upside down jig strumming pattern. So if I show you that with the E power chord, it kind of sounds like... etc. So up, up, whack, up, down, up, up, whack, up, down. That's your basic kind of offbeat snares pattern. But I wonder if we could half-time it by putting the snares maybe on the... If you had your snares on every second bar at the start of the bar, that would give you a half-time version of it, perhaps. So... we'd have to do it with a regular jig pattern because you can only mute on a downstroke. Yeah, so what I'm doing there, I'm using the Dada Diddly pattern, which goes down, down, up, down, up. I've made lots of videos about both of those jig patterns in the past, by the way. Again, folkfriend.co.uk/videos. So if you go down, down, up, down, up, 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 as your kind of default pattern, then what you can start doing is every second bar, put the mute on the first beat. And as soon as I've done that mute, then I'm coming back up with the upstroke so that my second and fourth bars and other even numbered ones have got all 6 of their quavers in. So I've got one normal bar, down, down, up, then the second bar is mute, up, down, up, down, up. So mute, up, down, up, down, up. So let's just, as a last little thing, let's have a look. I'll pick a jig at random from one of the play-along packs. Let's do Donegal last. What a tune that is. And I'll play along with it as normal, and then I will mess about. Maybe the second time through the tune, I'll try and play it like half time, and we'll see how it affects the kind of energy level of the tune. Just have to find the fast bit of it. really very well executed, was it? So, but you get the idea anyway. When you put these little halftime bits in, it feels, even though the tune's going the same speed, it kind of feels like all the accompaniments sort of gone a bit airy, and drops a lot of energy out of it. And then when you flick back into just what you were doing before, it feels huge and a lot more energy rich by comparison. So yeah, I think it's quite fun. I personally find it a lot easier and more intuitive to do that in reels than with jigs, as I've just demonstrated. But yeah, it's a fun thing to have a think about and a bit of a play with anyway. So yeah, that's about it really for what I wanted to cover today. Does anybody have any questions about anything, or topics you'd like to see for future Folky Fridays? I'm always open to any suggestions anyone's got. Anything at all. Oh, we've all gone quiet. Fair enough. Just trying to think if I have anything else exciting to announce while I'm here. What I said above is what you just did. Drive-in tune. Cheers, Frank. Oh, just one other quick little thing about these halftime techniques. If you are going to do a halftime thing, one thing that's interesting to do is if you've been playing a tune, particularly, let's take a tune in a major key, for example. So let's say I was playing, like, I don't know, Made Behind the Bar, for example, which is one of the free play-alongs on Folk Friends, so you can practice this. So the basic chords are like D, G and A. Something like that. And if I was doing it with my fave pattern, I might do it. Something like that. If you're going to go into halftime, you can combine that with other kind of suspense creating techniques to make a really kind of otherworldly version of the tune, and then flop back into your normal version for a big old boost. So what I might think about doing there would be starting an A part of the tune, maybe like the second or third time through the tune, on chord 4 instead of chord 1, so that it starts kind of elsewhere. So if I've, in fact, let's demo that. I'll get the video up and we'll have a very quick little look at it. Again, I'm trying to find the fast version. Here we go. thing anyway. If you're thinking about going half time, then maybe think about slowing down the rate of the chord changes, or starting on chord 4 or a related minor like B minor, like I did in the second part there, because that way your whole atmosphere is changed. And then if you do build back in to the regular chords and the regular rhythm, then it will seem like a big old boost at the end. So yeah, it's a fun thing to play with anyway, and you might find some real interesting results that way. Likewise, if you're in a minor key, especially if you're in Dorian, if you're in E Dorian, start on chord 4, the major chord 4. So if I was playing something like the butterfly would be a good one. So this is my basic like E minor E kind of chords. And then when I get to a part that I want to make suspenseful, I might kind of put my mutes in a kind of half-timey sort of place and start on chord 4, which in this case would be A7. But yeah, that way you can really make it feel like there's a lot more energy coming back in. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's it for this evening. I hope it's been interesting to you. Hi, Brian. Sorry I missed it tonight. I'll check it out on the replay. No worries. Yeah. Oh, thanks for tuning in at the end. Anyway. But yeah, all this stuff is in my first book, Backing Guitar Techniques for Traditional Celtic Music. All the basic patterns are there. The thing about mute placement, I never actually did a chapter on that. I will probably get round this summer to doing a sequel. I want to do a Dadgad book and revise the first one before then, and finish the blooming chord inversions book, which I've been saying I'll do for absolutely ages. So there's a lot on the pipeline, but yeah, I'll get round to it eventually. But anyway, most of this stuff, with the exception of the mute placement thing, is in there. So if you haven't got that already and you would like to see all this written down with loads of other good stuff about music theory and chord diagrams and all that good stuff, then check it out on the folkfriend.co.uk shop page. You'll find it there, along with all my other books, the mode wheel, capos, strings, all sorts of useful guitar-y accoutrements. So yeah, thank you to everyone who tuned in this evening. Thank you to Frank, to Ice Locust, to Stephen, to Ed, to Brian at the end, and to all the other people out there as well. I will be back next Friday at 5:30 again with something else. If you've got any things you'd particularly like to see me talk about, then drop me an email. It's info@folkfriend.co.uk. If you enjoyed this and you're not already following the Folk Friend Facebook page, then go and check that out. If you search Folk Friend Celtic Guitar on Facebook, you'll find me. Yeah, and of course tomorrow's video will be out about lunchtime-ish. That is going to be on how to put triplets into your slip jig strumming patterns. So check that out tomorrow afternoon as well. So thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you next weekend.